Okay. So like I said, we're going to strike. First thing we're going to do is we're going to strike the powder. And once the powder ignites, we're going to put these larger shavings. And then from there, we're going to put our kindling pieces on top, all right? And I'm not going to burn the whole kindling out because I don't want to, I'm indoors here. So and don't try this at home, people. All right, so now we got the pile going. We're going to take our shavings, put some shavings on. All right, now it's burning nice and solid. We put the larger shavings. We're going to put some of our kindling on now, okay? And we got ourselves a fire, guys. All right, now if you have any other, you see I'm putting the little splinters on there. All right, and if you have any other, here's another piece of kindling. If you have any other kindling, you can put it on there, okay? And you got yourself a fire. What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka New York Prepper. It is April 10th, Good Friday, 2020, and I wanted to do a video on what I consider to be the ultimate fire starter, okay? If I could only have one fire starter or one piece of tinder, it would be this, Fatwood, okay? With Fatwood, I can get a fire going in any condition and with any method of ignition or combustion, okay? So what is Fatwood? All right, Fatwood is just a piece of wood that is impregnated with resin, okay? Naturally, these Fatwoods are found in the core of certain types of pine trees, okay? Pine trees and conifers, they have natural resins in them, right? That's why you have that sticky sap. And, the resin in a pine tree or a conifer, whether it's a spruce, a fir, a pine, the sap, that sticky sap, the resin, it keeps the wood from freezing, okay? Because conifers and pine, fir, spruce, they live in, or they grow, not live, but they grow in colder climates, okay? Northern latitudes, and the resin and the sap inside of a conifer keeps it from freezing. It's a natural antifreeze, okay? That resin is actually very flammable, okay? It's a very flammable substance. It's a naturally flammable substance similar to turpentine, okay? And the wood inside of those trees is soaked in that resin, all right? That's why if you ever burn pine or fir or spruce, if you ever try to burn it in your fireplace, it'll pop a lot. It'll make like these popping sounds. It's very explosive because those resins heat up and they explode. The pressure builds up inside the wood and it makes this loud pop, right? And it's also bad for your chimney because you build up a lot more creosote from the resins. But when it comes to starting a fire in an emergency, this Fatwood is a lifesaver, okay? Because of that natural resin, you can see this piece of wood here. If I zoom into this Fatwood here, you can see that resin all on that brownish stuff here. And it's actually sticky when I touch it. It has like a sticky texture, all right? It's almost like it's like sap, basically, okay? And you can see it glistening in there in the light. You could see it glistening, but this is what you want. And in an emergency, you can use this multiple different ways, and I'll show you how. All right. The reason why I think this is the ultimate fire starter is that you can literally put this in water and leave it in water for hours and pull it out and just wipe off the water, and you can use it as a starter, okay? Emergency tinder or emergency fire starter, all right? And the reason why is, like I said, you have those resins on here, okay? So it doesn't matter if it gets wet because it's literally soaked in resin, and the resin is like gasoline, basically, or oil. It's like a natural oil, all right, that burns. So even if this gets wet, it'll still burn very, very well, okay? And you can do a lot of different things with it to get a fire going, and I'll show you in a second the different ways to do that. So, you know, you can throw this in your, even just one stick like this, you know, just one Fatwood stick. If you throw that in your survival bag, your bug out bag, your get home bag, your hiking bag, your hunting pack, you know, anytime you go out in the wilderness, you know, just throw one stick, all right? One Fatwood stick is all you need for at least a few days. You can start a lot of fires with just one Fatwood stick, okay? So throw one of these Fatwood sticks in your survival kit, and you'll see in a few minutes how effective these are at starting a fire, okay? And how easily they work, and pretty much in any condition, as long as it's not extremely windy. You know, if it's windy, then you're gonna have to break the wind somehow. But this will work in the rain. This will work in snow, humid environments. Just have to break the wind when you're using it. But for the most part, it's a bulletproof fire starter, okay, and tinder source. And so I'm going to show you guys how I use them. And like I said, just throw, even just one stick is good. All right. What I do is sometimes I'll carry in my bug out bag. I have a few of them rubber banded together, and it doesn't really weigh much, you know. But even just one stick, I mean, you can start a ton of fires with just this one stick. Okay. And I'll show you how to do that. But I wanted to just go over the different types of Fatwood, the different grades of Fatwood. So here you notice two brands, okay? You have Duraflame, which a lot of people are familiar with. You can buy this at your local grocery store, your local hardware store. You know, I personally bought this one at my local supermarket, okay? And then you also have some of these other brands that are available at Home Depot, or more like a home improvement type store. And there are two different varieties, and they're represented here on the left, okay? So I'm just going to zoom in so you could see a little better. All right, so these on the left, these Fatwood sticks here, okay, they came from this red bag that I got at Home Depot, actually. And these have more resin in them. You could see the brown resin in them, okay? So these are more rich with resin. They're so rich with resin that it's actually hard to shave anything off of them or to manipulate it and use it. So this is what I would call grade 1, all right? And then here we have the Duraflame version. The Duraflame version, you could see, is more like regular wood, all right? It has a slight smell of pine. It just looks like pine wood, basically. If you took like a board, a pine board, and you just split it, you know, that's what it looks like, okay? But it is impregnated with resin, but it doesn't have as much resin as the red bag, okay? You can see the difference here. This one is still good. It'll still burn, but this one will burn even better. It has more resin, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But I don't want to say that one is better than the other. I know a lot of people are immediately going to say that the Duraflame is worse because it has less resin. But in certain situations, you may want one over the other, okay? And I'm going to talk about that in a second. So this is your grade A and your grade B, okay? So your grade B is actually better, believe it or not, in certain situations, okay? If you're trying to shave off some shavings in order to get a fire going with your ferro rod, okay, or even with the lighter, then yes, the grade B is actually, believe it or not, grade B is better in that situation, because when you're shaving it, it's like regular wood. If you look at it, it looks like regular wood, and it's much easier to work with. You can shave much finer shavings off, all right, because it's not solid resin like this one. You know, this one here, you could see I tried to make a feather stick out of it, and it's extremely difficult because it has so much resin that you can't work with it. It's not workable, okay? This one you can work with this, all right? If I need to shave off a little bit of a pile of shavings and then hit it with my fire steel or ferro rod, this will be much easier to do that with, okay? This one, you can actually feel the difference in weight also. This one is much heavier than this one, all right, because of all the resin in there. It's very dense. But trying to shave one of these is much harder, okay, because of all the resin in there, all right? So what I like to do is I like to keep a mixture. So as you see here, I have these Fatwood sticks rubber banded together. Okay, I have the Duraflame version, the grade B, which looks like the regular pine, and then here I have the more heavily impregnated version, which is the grade A from the red bag that I got at Home Depot. All right, and I keep a mixture. Why is that? Well, in certain situations, I may want to shave off a little bit of Fatwood and hit it with my ferro rod in order to get a fire going. In other situations, I may want to use this as kindling, all right, or in an emergency, I can literally light the whole stick, okay? So in those cases, this will be better because it's more heavily impregnated. So if I need some emergency kindling to get a fire going and I can't find dry kindling in my area or even dry tinder, I can use this and just burn this directly with the lighter, or put this right on the fire, and this will start to burn much easier than the grade B version will. Okay, so I like to keep a mixture. So enough talking, and let me get to my experiment. I'm going to show you guys how to use the Fatwood in different situations, and how I plan to use it in an emergency or in a survival situation or a bug out situation. I'm going to show you guys how to use it. All right, so stand by. All right, guys, so I'm going to do first a demonstration with a lighter. Okay, so the two most common methods of starting a fire for most people is a ferro rod, a fire steel. Okay, this is a Bayite 6-inch by 1/2-inch fire steel with a striker that has markings on it for a 1 to 100,000 map and centimeters on one side, so I can measure things with it. Okay, this is a solid steel striker, and it has also a little wrench on it. I bought this on eBay for just a few bucks. It's super inexpensive, and it also has. You could also use this side here. It has a little. If you look closely here, it has this little. On the edge here, it has this little burr. It has a burr on the bottom, okay? And when you're scraping, that burr catches the fire steel and it scrapes it off much better than a 90-degree angle. Another thing it has this little half circle teeth here, so I can also do it this way. It lines up well, and I could do it that way also. Which I actually don't even like it. I don't know, but it just gives you another option. So ferro rod is one common way to do it, and then obviously a lighter. Here I have a mini Bic lighter, and I'm going to use this mini Bic lighter right now to show you how to start a piece of Fatwood. So let's say you're in an emergency situation, right? You have a lighter with you because you're a smoker or you're whatever, or even if you're a survivalist, you're carrying a lighter with you, right? You have one of these Fatwood sticks, right? What you can literally do, and you can see I already did it on this side, you can literally take your lighter and just burn it, okay? So this is a mini Bic lighter. It's less than 2 inches, so let's get it started here, okay? And this is the grade B, all right? So let's compare grade B to grade A, and we'll see which one. You can see it takes a little bit more work to get this one going, more lighter time. You have to hold the lighter down longer, okay? All right, so now it's burning on its own, and be careful when you put your lighter down. It's going to be very hot, so don't burn your finger. So now you can see this Fatwood is literally burning on its own, okay? I can use this now as a fire starter. If I have some tinder or kindling, I can start to put the kindling on top. All right, I can have a tinder bundle somewhere. Let's say I have a bundle of tinder here somewhere on the ground. I can stick this in there and light it. Okay, I can light different areas of the fire. This basically turns it into a torch, okay? And what you want to do is it'll burn out. If you hold it upright, it's going to burn out over time. So you have to hold it down like this to make sure that it doesn't burn out. But it basically turns it into a giant match, okay? So that's one good aspect. And you could just literally shake it and it'll blow out on its own, okay? And this is still very usable. It's charred a little bit, but I can still split this. And this is still very usable, okay? So I could reuse this. This is in an emergency situation, all right? I can literally just burn it like that. Next one is the grade A, and I want to show you how the grade A burns a lot easier. All right, here we go. You can see it catches fire much easier than the other one. It's already catching fire now. You see that? It catches fire easier than the grade B. You can see it only took a matter of 5 seconds for it to catch fire. You can see that black smoke. All right, so like I said, this is a giant match now. I can use this as a match. I can start a fire. I can put this in a tinder bundle. If I have a little pyramid, not pyramid, a teepee. I have a little teepee set up. I can stick this in there. All right, so wanted to just show you that. So that's the first way that you can use your Fatwood in an emergency. I don't recommend doing that unless it's a bad situation, or if you're crunched for time and you don't have enough time and you're in a rush. You know, if let's say you're in an escape and evasion scenario, or a bug out situation, you want to get a fire going quickly, then that's better. But if you want to prolong the life of your Fatwood, then what you want to do is you want to actually shave shavings off of it, okay, and then light those shavings with a fire steel, okay. So I'll show you guys how I do that in a second. All right, stand by. All right, guys, so I'm going to show you how much easier it is to shave off of the grade B Fatwood versus the grade A. But what I got here is my Marine Raider Bowie. This is a Spec Plus Marine Raider Bowie. And I actually sharpened the top of it here so it has better penetration. This comes with a faux edge when you buy it, but I actually took a sharpening stone and I sharpened the top of it. So if I need to do a thrust attack for whatever reason against a four-legged, let's say a bear attacks me and I want to stab the bear, you know, having this sharpened top is will help in penetration, and it will give me another slashing angle that I can slash with. But so I'm going to use this to make some shavings, okay? And the best way to do that is to actually you're gonna shave off little shavings. You see what I'm doing here? Let me see if I can't zoom in a little bit here. You can see there's already some shavings here. So I'm going to make a little pile of shavings, okay? And when you do these shavings, you want to make them as fine as possible. You don't want to have like huge shavings, because if you have big shavings, it's going to be hard to catch, okay? It's not going to catch well. What I actually like to do is I hold the knife at a 90-degree angle with the Fatwood, and I start sliding it down along the Fatwood like so. And that will give me very fine shavings, okay? Obviously your knife has to be sharp in order to do that, but alright, so you're holding it at a 90-degree angle, just like so. And obviously be careful so you don't cut your finger, alright? So you can see here some of the shavings, okay, on this Marine Raider. I love this knife. It's so cheap too. It's only 50 bucks. And you could kill a bear with this thing if I had to. Alright, so you can see I already have a pile. I barely did any work. And I already have a pile here. I could literally light this now with my ferro rod and it would catch. But just for the sake of demonstration, and you can see I shaved a good chunk out of that piece here. Alright, so just for the sake of demonstration, I'll shave a little bit more, okay? So stand by. Like I said, guys, you're holding it at a 90-degree angle, all right? My knife is like this. I'm not trying to make a feather stick, or I'm not carving, okay? I'm holding it like this, 90 degrees, okay? 90 degrees, all right? And if your knife is sharp, you don't even need to use that much pressure, all right? You see, I'm barely using any pressure. The weight of the knife alone is doing the work, all right? And I'm shaving very fine shavings. This is basically like sawdust, all right? It's like sawdust, very, very fine, okay? So we can shave a bunch of this off here. Now this is already a good amount, all right? I could start a fire in dry conditions if I had enough natural tinder. See if I can zoom out. If I had enough natural tinder around me, this would be enough to get me going, all right? But let's do a little bit more. Let me get a little bit more going here, all right? And I apologize, I can't do this in the woods for you guys today. It's windy outside and it's getting dark, so I wanted to do this in the woods, but you know, I just didn't have time to. All right, so we got a good pile here now, okay? Got a good pile. All right, you can see the pile here. All right, as you see, it's very fine. It's like a sawdust texture. Okay, you can see it's like dust, sawdust. All right, and so I'll show you guys how so that's one way that you can use this. Now I can strike this with my fire steel and get the fire going. Use some other tinder sources, and this would be enough to get the fire going. All right, so I'll show you right now. I'll strike it with my ferro rod and we'll watch it burn. All right. Sorry guys, 1 second here. All right, there we go. All right, so now it's burning, and just that little pile, I mean, just look how much flame it's producing. If I wanted to, I could stick this on here and I could catch the fat wood if I wanted to and burn the fat wood that way. I could get this started. All right, so let me show you how that would work. All right, so now I lit my fat wood with the pile of tinder, and now I can use this to start a fire, okay? Look, it burned pretty good, all right? You could see it. It's still burning, a good 30 seconds of burn time, or actually even more. You can see it's still burning, you know. You just gotta poke it a little and mix it up so it gets some fresh air, and you can see it's still burning, all right? So very, very good source of tinder. Now, next thing I'm gonna do is I'll show you guys how you can use your fat wood as a kindling, okay? Rather than just burning this whole thing, all right, you can actually use this as kindling, so stand by. All right, guys, so now I'm going to show you, if all I had was, and I was in the woods, and all I had was this piece of fat wood, I want to show you how I could get a fire going just with this piece of fat wood. So, and use this as an actual source of fuel too. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave more of the dust, okay? And you could see how little I used in that last, I mean, I just shaved a little piece off. You could see that little indentation I shaved off of the stick, all right? Very little. I used very little, all right? So you could easily, you know, with this one stick, I could start probably 100 fires or maybe more. So I'm going to shave a little more now, all right? I'm going to keep shaving. I'll show you guys how you can start a fire with just the stick alone. All right, so here I got another pile of shavings going, okay? of dust. I don't know if you guys can see that. Got a little pile here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it on this side, because that side already, it's dirty from the previous burning. So I got a little pile here already. I want to make that pile a little bigger, so I'm going to keep going. Like I said, you're holding it at a 90-degree angle. You see that fine shavings that are coming off? Got to hold it at a 90-degree angle, all right? You're not carving it. You're trying to get these fine shavings off, all right, which will easily catch a spark. Starting to smell really fragrant in here from all this, all these shavings. It smells really good. It smells like pine trees in here. So just keep shaving, make yourself a nice little pile, okay? And again, you're going to need to be in an area where there's not too much wind, because if there's wind, it's going to blow your pile off, and it's going to, you know, you're going to lose everything that you were shaving. So got to be in a wind-free area. Try to find like a big tree or a stone or a rock that breaks your wind, okay? If not, build a windbreak with some stones or logs, okay? All right, that's enough. All right, so I got a good sized pile here. All right, just like last time. All right, and I'll show you guys how you can. So we already did this. All right, so I'm not going to light that now. All right, what I'm going to show you is how you can use this as kindling now. And again, I did take a little bit of the wood off for this pile, but it's still not that much. You can see how much of the stick was taken off by shaving this little pile here. Okay, it's about 1.5 inches. Now what I'm going to do is I'm keeping this pile is going to stay there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to shave off larger shavings. All right, and you know, you're gonna shave off the edge like you would if you're making a feather stick. You're gonna make larger shavings, okay? Like this, you see? That's what you want. So you got your fine shavings here, and then you got your larger ones here, okay? And again, don't overdo it. You don't need that much, just a little bit, okay? So that's all I need, just a couple of these larger shavings, and I'm going to put those on the side here, okay? Let me separate them now. So I got one pile of the fine, all right, one pile of the fine shavings here, and then I have one pile of the larger shavings, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to catch this with, the spark is going to land on this first, and then we're going to put these larger shavings on top to maintain and sustain the fire, okay? So I'm going to shave a little bit more, all right? I want to get just a little bit more, all right? So let me get a little more here. All right, that's good. All right, guys, so I want to show you these two piles that I have here. One is the fine shavings, the sawdust, which I did that from holding it 90 degrees, holding the knife 90 degrees and shaving it 90 degrees, get that fine powder. And then I did a standard, you know, shaving this way, and you can see I got these larger, you know, shavings, okay? You can see these are much larger. Now these would not take a spark as easily as the powder will, all right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to strike the ferro rod onto the powder, get that going, and then we're going to put these larger shavings on top to maintain the fire for a longer period of time, so that way we can put our kindling on top. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is, let's say you didn't have any kindling, or you didn't have enough dry kindling because your area is wet or something. You can actually split this and make a little kindling out of the wood itself. Okay, so stand by and I'll do that for you so you can see how to do it. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this, but I don't want to split the whole thing. I just want to split a little bit of it, so this way I can have a little bit of kindling to get the fire going. Okay, so I'm just going to split a little bit. I'm not going to split the whole thing. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to aim for the side here and try to split just a little piece off. All right, and break that little piece down into smaller pieces. So I'll show you guys. Hopefully you guys can see me. All right, so be very careful you don't hurt yourself when you do this. You don't need that much work, okay? Doesn't need that much effort, really. Hopefully you guys can see. So that's what I did. All right, I'm going to split this little piece off. All right, I'm going to split that. So stand by. All right, excellent. All right, so I split the piece there, and you see now I have some smaller pieces here now. Okay, let's see if I can't zoom in real quick so you guys can see better. Just trying to find out. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually split. So here's my big piece. I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this for future use. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece that I split off, and I'm going to split that into smaller pieces. Okay, I'm going to split this in half, and I'm going to get very fine tinder out of it. Or not tinder, kindling. Okay, so stand by. Be very careful you don't hurt yourself when you use it, when you split with your knife. Alright, so you're just going to split this into little splinters. Alright, little tiny splinters. That's all you need. Alright, just like so. Okay, be very careful you don't, split your finger off. Alright, because it's be very, very careful here, especially if you're using a big knife like this. Okay, see how it just comes down quickly? So we got these little pieces here now, and this is going to be our kindling. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm literally making kindling out of my fatwood now. See, I got these little pieces of kindling here. Alright, and I'll show you guys. I'll split this piece one last time. Actually, this one we don't need to split. Alright, so you can see I made some kindling here, okay, out of the fatwood. So this is the original piece here on the top. This is the original, and this is the kindling that I made from the original. All right, I just split a little piece off, and I made some kindling here. So now this is what we're going to use to get our fire going. All right, so let me bring the camera over now, and I'll show you how we're going to do this. Okay, so like I said, we're going to strike. First thing we're going to do is we're going to strike the powder, and once the powder ignites, we're going to put these larger shavings, and then from there we're going to put our kindling pieces on top. All right, and I'm not going to burn the whole kindling out because I don't want to, I'm indoors here, so don't try this at home, people. Alright, so now we got the pile going. We're going to take our shavings, put some shavings on. Alright, now it's burning nice and solid. We put the larger shavings. We're going to put some of our kindling on now. Okay, and we got ourselves a fire, guys. Alright, now if you have any other You see I'm putting the little splinters on there. All right, and if you have any other, here's another piece of kindling. If you have any other kindling, you can put it on there, okay? And you got yourself a fire. All right, so just wanted to show you guys this. I'm going to blow this out now because I don't want to burn everything, but hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. Alright guys, so to summarize the video, like I said, you could burn the end of your Fatwood with a lighter. If you want to, if you're in an emergency, you can just light the end of it. You can use it for tinder by shaving off at a 90-degree angle a fine sawdust powder that catches fire. And then you can actually split this itself and make yourself some kindling out of it, okay? So, and it burns really, really hot, and it's waterproof, like I said. You can stick this in water, and it's not gonna stop its ability to catch fire. I can dip this in water, and it'll still burn because it's soaked with resin, so it's waterproof on its own. So, that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Happy Good Friday. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.